Today I'd like to share with you a little bit about how you can possibly up your assessment game using Quizziz and Seesaw. We're always trying to find new ways to provide good feedback to my students and get some good formative assessment in. And recently I've come across Quizziz and Seesaw and smashed them together. So hopefully what I share with you about will help you in some way. It's time to say goodbye to filling in the bubble and those blue books. It's time for change in education. We have so many tools available to us via technology for assessment, and those assessments now can become fun, believe it or not, help reduce tears and anxiety and stress and everything else that comes along with that, but also it makes teachers' lives so much easier. So these technology-based tools actually can be a great enhancement to your productivity in the classroom. A recent study actually found that by going more technology-based, you can save 8.5 hours of instructional time per quarter per class than you would have done had you had to go and make copies, grade copies, pass them out, lose them, try to find them again. Your enhanced productivity can come from many different areas. You don't have to lug these papers home. The grading is already done for you on many assessment tools out there now, and it's just a lot more fun, as I had mentioned earlier. So we know that formative assessment is a great way for us to guide our instruction. When we see those areas where our students are challenged still, or where they're strong, we know we can push them, or stop, review, go back, maybe pull small groups. We want our formative assessments to allow our students to show their understanding of the content, but now we're taking that a step further, and we also want them to, I guess you could say, express their deeper levels of learning. And they do that by showing things like their drawings, their explanations, what they're wondering about, their reflections. We really want this process of metacognition to continue and to strengthen. So one way that I constantly fight with is for formative assessment, how do I balance the two? How do I show that metacognition, but also see that they can get that content knowledge in there at the same time? And in a lot of subjects, it's easy to do, but I found in math, that's one of the most challenging areas. So I've combined this idea and have come up with using Quizziz and Seesaw as a way to sort of do that. So Quizziz is a wonderful multiple choice platform. It's technology based, it's game based, and the students are able to move at their own pace. It provides feedback immediately to not only you, but also to the learner so that they can see their areas of strength and challenges. And it's a whole lot of fun. Seesaw, on the other hand, if you have not gotten to use Seesaw, Seesaw is a platform that also goes out to parents. It is where students can annotate, draw, they really get to show their thinking in various different ways, pictures, graphs, and the teacher can provide feedback via comments. Parents and peers can also comment on the work. So it's a great tool not just for assessment, but to also provide that needed feedback. So here's a little picture of what Quizziz looks like. You can tell just by this one screenshot that it's very appealing to the students. There's also an element of competition in it, which can be enabled or disabled. So the students can try to beat each other, you can say, and they do that by answering questions quickly, but also getting them correct. You can disable that, where the time limit doesn't matter and they don't get more points for that. However, I have found that if you leave that enabled, the students are more likely to go home and continue playing the game. Gee, you want to go home and do more math homework? Okay. Seesaw, here's a nice little screenshot of Seesaw for you to take a look at. You can see that one was just a picture taken of a worksheet per se, and then the students go back and annotate and really explain their thinking. So like I mentioned, I smashed Quizziz and Seesaw together to kind of provide this ultimate feedback tool. Quizziz is an excellent way for my students to show that they understand the concept, right? The standard that I'm looking for in a multiple choice style format. So this is very similar to what they get a lot on those standards-based tests. So what I've started doing is I give my students this Quizziz as a pre-assessment, and you can either create them or you can take ones that are already on Quizziz and use those. So I go per standard that I might be teaching that week, or the day, or for a certain unit of time. I will give them the pre-assessment, and once they have shown me that if they in fact have an 85% accuracy rate or higher, that shows me that they're understanding the content pretty well and they're ready to move on to show me proof of their understanding. So then I ask them to go ahead and go into Seesaw, and there'll be one question following the standard where they have to explain and draw an example to go with it. So as you can see on this screenshot here, my student has drawn the fraction bar to go along with the equation, and then down in this little area you can see that there's a play button because she's also explained her thinking through a voice recording. Overall, I have found that this has saved me a ton of time in the classroom because now I can give my students this pre-assessment. I know exactly who to pull aside based on which standards, while my other students who have already shown complete, understanding of the content can move on to more of a project-based lesson to further expand their thinking. I hope that this has helped you out a little bit. If you have any questions, please do contact me on Twitter at TeachGenTeach, and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much.